Hello, welcome to my video. Today I'm going to share with you how I started learning Hiragana and Katakana without using any expensive apps and without taking private classes. You are just going to need basic material that you probably already have at home, such as a printer, white and colored paper, whiteboard markers, and Wi-Fi service. The first thing you're going to do is print out practice sheets for Hiragana and Katakana, like these that you can find online for free. Here on screen and in the description box, I'm going to leave the info on where I got them, but you can choose any that you prefer. You are going to download the practice sheets for both Hiragana and Katakana, but you are going to start practicing Hiragana first. These practice sheets include all 46 Hiragana characters and are 10 pages in total. I decided to print them on both sides to save paper. I also recommend printing each alphabet on different colored paper, so they are easier to tell apart. The practice sheets for Katakana are the same as Hiragana. They also have 46 characters and are also 10 pieces of paper. In order to practice writing each character several times without using too much paper, you're going to need one of these plastic sheet protectors that feels similar to a Ziploc bag. This is going to act like a cheap version of a whiteboard. You're also going to need dry erase markers. Make sure these are the thin kind. You really only need one, but if you have the possibility of buying several colors, that would be awesome because it makes practicing a lot more fun. You're also going to need something to erase with. I suggest a whiteboard eraser, but a piece of cloth or napkins with some rubbing alcohol also works. Today I'm going to practice with page number 5 because I've noticed that I still have trouble remembering nu and ne. If you're a beginner, however, I recommend practicing Hiragana and Katakana in order, without skipping any pages. These practice sheets are going to help you learn the stroke order of each character. As you can see, the character na includes one square for each individual stroke. These squares show exactly where to begin and where to finish each stroke when writing the character. It's very important to follow this stroke order and avoid writing the character in a different way. For example, if a stroke is meant to be written from left to right, you should not write it from right to left. This same principle applies to all the characters on this page that contain the N sound. At the top of the page, you will find the page number with all the Hiragana characters practiced on that page, including their pronunciation shown in parentheses. On this page, we will be practicing the characters na, ni, nu, ne, and no. You might think that learning to simply recognize each character is enough, and technically that's true. However, in my opinion, skipping writing practice can slow down your progress later, especially when you start forming simple sentences. When I first started learning Japanese, I practiced 1 or 2 pages a day for about 15 minutes to 30 minutes. I only moved on to a new page once I felt about 80% confident that I had learned the characters from the previous pages. At the beginning, my progress was slow, and sometimes I practiced the same pages for an entire week. So keep in mind that learning to write Hiragana and Katakana takes time. Each character is unique and beautiful, so don't rush the process. Try to enjoy it. Before you know it, you'll be able to write every character on your own. Learning Hiragana is one of the most important steps in your Japanese learning journey, and it's a step worth taking your time with. A strong Hiragana foundation will make learning Katakana much easier, and it will also help you feel more confident when you begin studying kanji later on. In Japanese, kanji characters often have their pronunciation written in hiragana above them. This is called furigana, and it serves as a helpful guide for reading new kanji or unfamiliar kanji. If you try to learn kanji before feeling comfortable with hiragana, the process can quickly become overwhelming. Taking the time to build a solid hiragana foundation will make your learning experience more enjoyable and help you stay motivated along the way. As you write each character, try saying its sound out loud. I believe this helped me learn much faster because I was practicing writing, speaking, and listening at the same time. Give it a try and see how it works for you. Now let's practice the same characters from page 5, but this time in katakana. I started learning katakana once I felt more or less confident with hiragana. I was still making a few mistakes, but I felt ready to learn both alphabets together, since hiragana and katakana represent the same sounds, only the characters are different. In Japanese, katakana is mainly used for words borrowed from foreign languages, like foreign names of people and places, scientific names for animals or plants, company names, and Japanese onomatopoeia. If you already speak English, you may have noticed that some katakana words are easier to recognize because katakana helps you sound out these borrowed words. Learning katakana will also allow you to write and pronounce your own name in Japanese. What would your name sound like in katakana? Share it in the comments. Let's talk about some flashcards I recommend printing to complement your hiragana and katakana writing practice. The first two sets I recommend are these. I will be sharing with you where I downloaded them here on screen and in the description box. I suggest printing each alphabet on different colored paper so it's easier to tell them apart when you first start learning. It's also a good idea to laminate the cards or print them on thick paper so they last longer. I also took the time to write the stroke order for each character on the cards, so I could review it every time I studied. For my own flashcards, I added the pronunciation on the back by downloading the PDF twice, editing it, and gluing the front and back together before laminating them. Adding the pronunciation on the back helped me a lot, especially when studying them with my husband. He would show me the character and I had to say the correct pronunciation, and he would use the back part to check if I was correct or not. This was my favorite way to study, so I recommend practicing with another person if possible. Even if they're not learning Japanese, in my experience, explaining or talking about what you're learning to someone else makes the learning process much more meaningful and helps you remember what you're learning. Both sets are numbered from 1 to 46, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up. When you first start learning, I recommend studying the cards in order. This will help you stay organized and help you connect each character with its pronunciation more easily. Later on, once you've spent some time studying Japanese, you might want to mix the cards and practice them in a different order. When you start feeling more confident, you can even mix hiragana and katakana together. Because if you always study them in the same order, it's easy to accidentally memorize the sequence instead of truly recognizing each character on its own. Practicing with the cards in random order can be a helpful way to see which characters you already know and which ones might need a little bit more practice. Here are two more sets of flashcards that will help you continue practicing hiragana and katakana. I made these flashcards to study combination sounds and the sounds created with dakuten and handakuten. I also laminated these flashcards and this time decided to use a hole puncher to put them in this metal ring so they would be easier to take everywhere. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a free PDF version of these flashcards online, so I decided to make them using white paper and markers. I used two PDFs from Dr. Moku, and I'll leave the links for those in the description box. The first set of flashcards helps you study 36 more sounds that are created by combining certain characters with ya, you, and yo. These combinations include characters like ki, she, chi, ni, he, mi, and iri, along with the sounds gi, bi, pi, and ji. The second set of flashcards will help you study 25 additional sounds that are created by adding dakuten or handakuten to certain characters. Handakuten, which is a small circle, is added to ha, hi, fu, he, and ho to create the sounds pa, pi, pu, pe, and po. Dakuten, which looks like two small apostrophes, is added to the sounds from the ka, sa, ta, and ha rows to create sounds like ga, za, da, and ba. These combinations are very common in Japanese, so learning them will help you recognize and pronounce many different kanjis. At first, learning all of these new sounds might feel a little overwhelming, but by this point you will probably already know Hiragana and Katakana, so it will be much easier than you think. Just try to study a little bit every day. Take your flashcards with you to review them whenever you have 5 or 10 minutes of free time. And remember, don't feel discouraged if it takes time. Learning Japanese is a long journey and you're not competing with anyone. Just take your time and enjoy the process. Now I'm going to show you all of my flashcards. In this part of the video, I want to share with you some YouTube channels that helped me a lot when I first started learning Japanese. especially when I was trying to memorize Hiragana and Katakana. All of these channels have easy N5 videos for you to begin learning. If you're new to Japanese, you might not know that the language proficiency levels are divided into 5 levels: N5, N4, N3, N2, and N1. N5 is the beginner level, and N1 is the most advanced. These channels were incredibly useful for building a strong foundation. They helped me practice hiragana and katakana, learn my first and 5 kanjis, and helped me pick up a lot of basic vocabulary and simple everyday phrases. When I first started learning, I didn't always have a lot of time to study. So whenever I had a few free minutes, I would watch videos from these channels. Most of their videos are actually pretty short, usually around 8 to 15 minutes, which made them perfect for a quick study session. And if you have more time, they also have longer lessons. My favorite ones were definitely the vocabulary videos. I would play them whenever I had some free time or while doing simple tasks that didn't require much attention, like washing the dishes, folding laundry, or even doing a short workout. When you first start learning, it might feel like you're not making much progress, but little by little, those short study sessions start to add up. And before you realize it, you've learned a lot more Japanese than you expected. Let me know in the comments if you already use any of these channels to study Japanese. And if you know any other great YouTube channels for learning Japanese, feel free to share them. I'm always looking for new ones too. Alright, guys. So finally, the last two resources I use to learn Hiragana and Katakana are these two pages. The first one is Tofugu's Learn Kana Quiz, and the second one is Kana Pro. They are both completely free and you don't have to register to use them. Here in Tofugu's Learn Kana Quiz, you have the option to practice or test yourself in Hiragana or Katakana. In both Hiragana and Katakana, you can practice just the main Hiragana or Katakana alphabet, or you can practice Hiragana Rakuten and Handakuten, or you can practice a combination Hiragana or Katakana. Or you can practice just some in each. It really just depends on where you're at in your learning process. So just to show you an example of how this works, I'm going to pick these two, and it'll take you to a different page where you have to practice typing the pronunciation of each hiragana symbol. So for example, here I have to write ki. You click enter and it takes you to the next one. You write ka, i, and let's say you don't know that this is ku and you write ka, and it'll mark it wrong and you have to go back and write it correctly. Ku, enter, u, enter, a, enter, o, ko, e, and ke. And when you finish, you click here and it'll give you like a summary of how you did. It'll give you a grade. And then once you're done, you can go back home and practice something else or practice again. In the second page, Kana Pro, it is almost the same, but there is one feature that's different. Here you can also practice Hiragana or Katakana. You can pick the ones that you want to practice. You can also choose a combination of Hiragana to practice that, or you can use combination Katakana to practice this. But compared to this page, here you have the option of practicing look-alike characters, which are symbols that look very similar and can be confusing to learn at first. For example, shi, tsu, so, n, and no are all very similar, so those are hard for beginners. You can test yourself here. Also, u, fu, wa, ra, su, no, and wo are all very similar, so you can practice here. So just to show you an example of how Kana Pro works, I'm going to pick these four and click Start Quiz. And Kana Pro tests you a bit differently than Tofugu's Learn Kana Quiz. The first way it tests you is it gives you the hiragana or katakana symbol and you have to pick the pronunciation. So for example here, it would be ke, and then ku, then o, ke again, ko again, because remember we picked hiragana and katakana practice, ko. And let's say you get it wrong, that you don't know that this is ku and you pick ko. It'll mark it wrong and it'll eventually show you that same symbol again so you can practice it again. So then ku, u, o, ku, a, o, ku, a, e, I, e, a, ke. And then in stage 2, it's the other way around. At first it shows you the pronunciation and you have to pick the correct symbol. So ka, u, ko, ku. And also if you get it wrong, it's the same thing. It'll give it to you in red and it'll show it to you again later so you can practice it again. Ki, I, a, e, ka, ke, a, ko, ke, u, o again, but now it's in katakana. Ki, ke again, but now it's in hiragana. Ki, u. And then in stage 3 is the same as here in Tofugu's Learn Kana Quiz. It gives you the symbol and you have to write the pronunciation. You click enter. U, ki, o, a, I, ku, a, ku, ka, ki, a, e, ki, e, u, o, ku, o again, ko. Then there's the stage 4 where you have to write these sounds. Which character is this? Ku, ki, ka. Ku, ki, ka. And I, ka, a. So it becomes a little bit more complicated, but it's essentially the same thing. I, ka, a. And ka, o, u. Ki, ko, e. Ku, ke, ku. That one was a little hard. Ki, o, a. Ko, a, o. Ke, ki, ka. E, o, ki. I, e, ku. U, I, o. Ku, I, u. Ko, o, ka. A, ka, ki. E, ke, ku. U, ki. Trying to trick us there. O, ki, ka. E, a, o. Ke, e, o. U, a, e. And yay! You passed all 4 stages. So as you can see, it's a lot more, or a little bit more difficult than over here. But I mean, it's essentially what you want, right? You want to get tested. You want to test yourself too. And then you can go back and continue to practice something different. And that would be it, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you at least try to use one of these resources that I've shared with you today. And happy Japanese learning. Bye-bye.